We started the business over 35 years ago. A lot has changed over the years, but one thing still remains the same.
Our passion for fixing cars. With a team of over 12 men and women, they work day in and day out to provide us the best quality service possible.
From light and heavy duty vehicle repairs and maintenance work,
diagnostics and racing transmissions,
performance parts and Jeep upgrades,
automotive detailing,
used car sales,
and towing through our sister company, AC Towing.
Our team has the knowledge and understanding to solve all your vehicle needs while putting your mind at ease.
Experience the Ogilvie difference.
It's worth the drive.
Hello and welcome back to the Bracket Life broadcast, episode 78. Brandon here, as always, joined my good friend Andrew Sturck. Andrew, how are you doing on this fine evening?
Awesome. The snow is melting, right? Spring is in the air. I probably just jinxed us for anyone out this part of the world, but I'll take it. Stuff's melting. That's the exciting part. Time to get working.
Exactly. Let the fun really begin, right? Racing kind of kicking off, right? Starting to get up there. Start of the NHRA season in 2 weeks. Not this weekend, next weekend.
The national scene,
Yep. So, national events come up. That's always good, right? Daytona 500 just happened. So, that's what it means, man. Start getting those race cars ready. Get the dust blown off. That's for us. I'm sure those are some dusty race cars. We have not looked at them as much as I had hoped over the winter. Andrew, before we dive into episode 78, we will kick it off by thanking our sponsor for tonight's show, Ogilvie's Auto and Fleet Service, located in Jasper, Ontario, Canada, right where I'm sitting. Ogilvie's Auto and Fleet Service can not only fix all light and heavy-duty vehicles, also a dealer for FTI Performance Transmissions and Converters, Jones Transmission Pumps, K&R Performance Engineering, Portatree, and Race Star Wheels. Visit the website, ogilviesauto.com, for more information. As always, send me a message, Andrew1, send Bracket Life a message. We can get you guys set up, pricing, information, whatever you need. Lots of that going on right now. Have a decent-sized order coming in from FTI that will be getting brought back. Mike and Vic heading to Florida here sometime soon. Nice. Stop at FTI as usual for the yearly trip and transmission pickup. We got a good collection of stuff. Got some different products for racers ready to go. Any other stuff you need, transmissions, whatnot, we can get you. We have some used but freshly rebuilt stuff in stock. So check that out, ogilviesauto.com, Facebook, Instagram, Ogilvie's Auto. Lots of great information there. If you are tuning in live, be sure to comment. Let us know you're here, hanging out. Questions, comments, things like that. We love the interaction. Obviously, we have a special guest, Spencer Hyde, later on in the show. Love it, right? Lots of excitement going on there. So any questions, comments for him, fire them up. We will be sure to try our best to get to all of them. Andrew, we'll dive into the Canadian Countdown. Not a whole lot of action, but we do have some winners. Or almost winners, I guess. And we got some Canadians going fast.
We got results, right? Like we were talking about this 2 weeks ago, right? It's that quiet time of year. There's not much results. Well, we've got some starting to trickle in. A few different parts of the year kicking off. Paolo Just. I always struggle to make sure I get his name right, and I'm never sure I actually say it right. Whatever, but
it's Black Betty. That's all you got to worry. Black Betty's out there putting big numbers up on the board.
That's the thing. So lights out 16, lights out whichever number teen it is. Radio versus the World went out and qualified number 2, 347. Had the provisional number 1 on a couple of occasions with some great 340 runs. I believe he got down to the semifinals before bowing out. I stopped paying attention after that point. Anyway, late in the day, Saturday. Also had some other things going on, but great start to the year for them in the radial class. NHRA. So we talked about it being kicking off. If you were a Lucas Oil racer, you were kicked off 2 different events. Notably, some Canadians did well in Firebird Raceway down in Phoenix, or if it's Arizona. I'm not sure if it's Phoenix anymore. Racetracks keep moving around down there. So Arizona, regardless.
That's it.
We had Division 7 kicking off the year. A lot of our Western Canadian friends make the trip down there. So top sportsman Mike Lugas, St. John, British Columbia, kicking off race season in fine fashion, runner-up and top sportsman. Going 740s. I like that. The door car, like 20-second qualifier, getting in there and going around. A lot like what we just saw at the not Pro Stars, the Skag Pro
Superstar shoot. There we go.
Thinking of, yeah. Watching a lot of the top sportsman guys, those low 7-second players hanging out. Love seeing that. And then second race, Division 7, race number 2, Super Street, Dustin Ward, who I believe was running the number 61 number, meaning that dude's the division champion, if I saw the number right. Great start to the year for him, if that's the case. Runner-up, Slave Lake, Alberta. That just sounds far from Arizona, so I'm assuming that's a heck of a hike, but great title defense if that's what he's shaping up to try to do here. From there, I don't believe we had any results from Orlando that at least I could find, but if I'm wrong, the world will correct me and we'll keep on rotating. The other notable news I saw, which had Canadian interaction to it, is Street Outlaws. They have a new name. Their Speed Production, I think it is now. They're running around, and apparently they're coming to Canada 3 times officially, not just like last year. I believe they had some de facto stops where not everyone showed up. Apparently these are all part of the series. They'll be at Cayuga, July 11th and 12th. And then I love the guy or girls or people who came up with this schedule, because they're going to leave TMP on July 12th and go 2,560 miles roughly to Alberta, Edmonton specifically, in 6 days or less, because you probably want to be there before the race starts. July 18th and 19th at Rad Torque Raceway. And then I'm assuming this is now a hop, skip, and a jump comparatively, Edmonton to Mission, BC, when you've gone from Cayuga to Edmonton, July 25th, 26th. And then I'm sure from there they jettison down to, I think it was Washington, and then from Washington to Virginia. So lots of, if you know anyone who's a street outlaw, sell them some tires and a few extra bullets. I think they're going to need it for the trucks. I don't know about the cars, but
yeah, the race cars will be fine. The towing and hauling equipment is going to have some wear and tear. Through that schedule, it is wild. The miles they are going to put on, and the course of action will be interesting to see. It's an interesting schedule, but
it is. It's got some breaks in it, and then it's got like we're going to go from Washington DC to like Virginia type stuff, right? And like 2 weeks. Just you ever follow any of these superstars on social media and watch the breakdowns on the side of the roads? And I'm sure there's going to be. I hope not. I don't want to wish this on anyone, but
that's it.
This is the reality of the traveling superstars. Speaking of traveling superstars, I feel that's a great segue.
It is. That was well done. Absolutely. We will head to the main event of Tuesday. That's what we're all here for. We're ready for it. Here to hang it, coming to us directly from Bradenton, Florida, Mr. Spencer Hyde. Spencer, how's it going tonight, bud?
I'm good. How are you guys?
Excellent. Having fun? I said it when you came on a little earlier, right? We're just hanging out, doing our thing, watching all the cool stuff you get to do, and wishing we were hanging around too.
Yeah, it's been a busy week already. We started down up from here in Gainesville. Got in there Thursday to start the testing for the funny car. Something I have been looking forward to for a few months now, since it's been announced, since I found out about it. So finally got to sit in the thing and warm it up on Thursday night when I got there, and that was a pretty cool experience in itself. And then went to the hotel for a good night's sleep and get out her Friday morning. I rolled out of bed and go to jump in the rental car, go to the track, and it's 32 degrees, 0 for us Canadians, but literally freezing cold Friday morning on the way to the racetrack. And so we had to wait a little bit, try and let it warm up. It didn't get very warm. The conditions were incredible. Kind of wish I had my pro mod there. I could have probably made the career best laps, but those guys just don't race in those conditions. I think when we got to the racetrack, it was 2,100 feet below sea level, which I've never seen on a weather station. And I know Jim certainly has not, or if he has, he hasn't ran in it. to go up, drag it up there, and make a couple of hits on Friday, knowing that we probably wouldn't get too far, and it didn't. It smoked the tires both times, but it was, still had to go through the procedure, get strapped in, do the burnout, and get used to how Jim's car is set up, and everything that I thought I learned in the Peyton car. I made 18 or 20 runs in that thing over the last couple of years, and basically just throw all that out the window. Everything's different. Jim's co-crew chief is Dave Leahy from Electromotion, so they've got everything on switches, and nothing's manual in the car. It's all controlled with one of Leahy's devices. So totally different than the dragster, procedurally and the driving of it. Just I thought there'd be some similarities, and there's not. So
this is a complete departure from the comfort zone that the little bit of one you started to develop here in fuel racing.
Yeah, I thought, okay, I drive a short wheelbase Pro Mod. They're pretty wild. I've driven a top fuel dragster. They're pretty fast. This is just going to be a hybrid of the two, and couldn't have been further wrong. It is its own. It's its own beast. It's incredible. It's that thing's sitting in front of you, and it actually, believe it or not, gets less scary when the body goes down, because it kind of quiets it down a bit, and you can't see everything. But when they're holding the body up, and that thing's idling in front of you, and it's just your head, you're just shaking. It's nuts. It's just a very cool experience. So, anyways, we got to make a couple hits on Friday. Didn't get very far, but like I said, got all the procedures down and figured out. Wasn't real comfortable in the car. We had to move the seat belts and adjust the head padding and a few little things just to get me to where I was comfortable. I had all new gear on. I ordered all new Stand 21 stuff. Jim's a really good friends with Eves at Stand 21, and so I got fitted for all that stuff at PRI. So I hadn't even put it on. It showed up to Jim's shop, and they brought it to the racetrack for me. So I
think I saw the reel of you unboxing it at the.
Yeah, I literally everything out of the box. I had never tried any of it on. So and kudos to them, because everything fit like a glove, which was awesome. So yeah, I had new boots, suit, helmet, Hans device, everything was new. Anyways, that was cool. Got comfortable. And Saturday, same thing, really cool. Crazy good air early in the morning. We went out. We struggled again. We made 3 more hits. The first 2 smoked the tire. I know it was the first one smoked the tire. Then the second run on Saturday, it put a hole out at the step on the right bank, and we got past the Christmas tree, but it just drove me to the center line, and I was in there trying to fight it back, and not a whole lot you can do with one of them things when it starts going one way with a hole out. It's pretty tough to.
So like the dragster puts a hole out, you've got a much different experience than.
Well, yeah, you got a lot more leverage there, right? Out on you got a lot more car to work with, more wheelbase, so it's a little different. And I actually, Peyton's car, it put a hole out a couple times, but I've never put one out at the step. It was always down track. So I never really, I felt it in the dragster. I felt it move one way or the other down track, which again in the dragster was pretty easy to feel and fairly easy to correct, because they're so long and there's so much downforce out there that wherever you steer it, it's going to go. Yeah. This thing is not quite like that. So anyways, I think I just about hit the 330 cone, got out of it, all was good. But then on the 5th run, I guess it was 6th run, we made 4 on Saturday. So the T6, it blazed on down through there, and it left and kind of drove a little bit right, and I brought it back and got it down to the 8th mile. Jim wanted me to click it off at the 8th. He said, listen, you get some good 8th mile runs. We know what it's going to run if we get good 8th mile numbers. Just get comfortable with it, and get the chutes out and all the stuff. And it went 314 at 284 to half track, which is he laid it over top of a 387 run from Pomona last year, and it was basically an identical run. So it would have went 86, 87 at whatever, high 320s, low 330s. It was on a good run, and so that was awesome to get to finish off Saturday on a high note. The guys were down in the dumps a little. They were pretty bummed out. 0 for 5. Jim said that he doesn't remember the last time he's been 0 for 5. But anyways, it was just one of those deals where the conditions were something they weren't used to, and just had to deal with it. So anyways, it was pretty excited group around there Saturday night, and we had a couple of beers and celebrated, and then Sunday went back, tried a couple different things. It smoked the tire on the first run again, and then the second run again blazed right on down through there. Went another 315 at 283, so pretty much the same run. Made a little move at the 8th mile when I took my foot out of it, and I was over towards the left wall. But again, another good experience. And I asked Jim, about that, and he goes, "Well, they just kind of do that. Like, not a whole lot of warning, and you just deal with it. Don't hit the wall, and don't cross the center line." So, he doesn't have a lot of rules, but he's got a couple, and staying off the wall, and he prides himself on not crossing the center line, not putting anybody else in danger, which I think is great. And he said no red lights, and no reason to be over 100, which I was several times. Just a different car, different way of seeing the tree. I wasn't going up there trying to kill the tree. I was trying to just do all the procedures right. So I think we can probably pick that up a little bit. But we made 9 runs, and I think between 91 and 115 on every run. So fairly consistent. Just needs to be a little quicker, but we'll work on that. All in all, just a pretty awesome experience. Jim's got a great group of guys there. A few of the guys have been with him a long time. There's 2 brand new guys that this was their first weekend. So it was cool to kind of
not be the only one in fresh to all this.
Yeah. And of course, Jim's been doing this. I think this is his 46th consecutive season in Nitro racing. So he started in 1979, and the boy he's seen a lot of stuff and done a lot of things. So pretty cool to sit up in the lounge with him and hear the stories, and just where he's got a big screen in his lounge, and he's got every run that the thing's ever made on a big Excel sheet. And the first run I put on was run number 749. So that was pretty cool. I was like, wow, that's a lot of runs in a nitro car. So,
yeah.
Anyways, so that was my weekend up there. It was a pretty fun deal.
Yeah, that's pretty sweet when you think about unreal how you've had such a little amount of time in the car. And I don't know how many set times you've been to Jim's shop to get in and go through procedures, but just the once. So I mean, to get in and just make the thing make a pass, right? Like realizing you've been through the experience with the fuel dragster, but just completely different combination, right? Is quite the successful endeavor. I mean, you look at how many years it took some people just to make a complete run, and not because of the equipment, just to make something get down the track, right? Truly an awesome first experience with it.
No, it was pretty awesome.
Yeah. So one of the things we were chatting a little bit about, and I guess this is the tough part, right? Is the transition. You've got a full-time job, right? Like there's a lot of people on the series who are going to run the full events that, their full-time job is running the race car, right? Whether it's the team owner driver or, the team driver, right? And finding it. But it sounds like you're playing, like you're working as well as going to the track. So maybe you can tell us a little bit about that, because I think that's whatever success you have this year, which I'm still confident you're going to have quite a bit because you've been so successful at everything else, and Jim's had such a great operation. How does that look for you? Like, how do you plan on juggling, everyday life and, professional fuel funny car driver?
Well, I don't know if I've fully figured that out yet, but we're gonna see how it goes here. But that was one of the first conversations I had with Jim over the phone when he first called me about this opportunity, and he told me he wanted to run all 20. And honestly, I didn't really think I could do it. And I went and I talked to mom and dad about it, and Dad basically said, hey, if you're back in the office Monday morning, I'm good with it. Go do it. So that was that was exciting to get his blessing. And I look after a lot of the day-to-day stuff for our family construction business, so I'm pretty involved. I like to be in the office as much as I can, and racing obviously puts a bit of a hindrance on that. But I looked at it as I raced 10 pro modified races a year. When I go with my pro mod team, I drive the truck with Rod. We help set up the awning. I'm there for the full duration, and we're gone almost a week. So it's a struggle. Like, you're missing a lot of days of work, and my guys are all volunteer. My pro mod guys are all volunteer guys that take holidays from work to go do this with me, and it was getting to be a lot. And so I thought, I could take this opportunity, go nitro racing. I can fly in Thursday night. I can fly out Sunday night. Really, I'm going to do twice as many races and probably miss less days of work, or about the same. This little stretch in Florida here is a little bit different. I started, like I said, last weekend up there. I'm now in Bradenton getting ready for World Series of Pro Mod. My guys just landed at the airport. I came down here with Dad today and brought the rig to the track and set up the awning. And Dad and I haven't done that together by ourselves in 15 years. So that was kind of cool. It's going to be tough. I'm not going to lie to you. It's going to be tough. It's going to be a lot of, logistics and being in the right place in the right time, and trying to get home for meetings and taking stuff on the road. And fortunately, Courtney's a professional traveler, so she's got me set up here pretty good. And Jim's got his own plane, so I'm able to travel with him to a bunch of the races. So that helps. I can get out Sunday night right after the race, and albeit I got a bit of a drive from his shop in Columbus to home, but it still beats flying commercial and dealing with delays and cancellations and everything else we seem to deal with a lot of these days, especially out of Toronto Pearson International.
Yeah, recently at all. It's all been
Anyway, so it's going to be a challenge, but it's something that myself and my parents and my team at work have all embraced, and we're just gonna make it work.
That's fantastic, and good scenario, right? Like, one of the things you were talking about, right, is Jim has been here, right? Like, he gets what you're trying to go through to go fuel car racing, right? And that's what he's done for many years. So, on top of the support group around you, like, Courtney and your parents being able to jump in on this, and Jim's understanding, like, I don't think you get a better scenario by the sounds of it to jump in and go, okay, we're going to go 20 races and have the group you need, right?
Yeah, and it's as cliche as it sounds, I don't think I probably could have taken the offer from any other team. Like, Jim was so understanding. He's nitro raced for 45 years, and he's ran a construction business as well while doing that. So he was very, very open and understanding when I told him that Monday to Thursday I'm going home to run the business. I'm not chasing sponsors. I'm not appeasing sponsors. I mean, I'll do what I can. Yeah. I'm works first, and I'm going to be a lot more successful at being a contractor than I am at driving a race car. I might be better at driving a race car than I am at contracting, but the other one pays a lot better. Anyways, but he was very understanding about it, and he said, listen, I've done that my whole life. I respect that. We'll make it work. So, so far so good. I mean, lots of people warned me that Jim's going to be a tough guy and all that, and he is. He's a no bullshit kind of guy. He likes things done the way he likes things done, and I like those kind of people. I don't like people that sugarcoat things. I don't like people that beat around the bush. I want to know if there's something he doesn't like that I'm doing, and I want to know if there's something that he likes that I'm doing. So, and I told him that, and it's been a pretty short working relationship so far, but so far so good. I mean, it was pretty much a flawless weekend as far as that goes. I mean, we were able to talk about everything, and we're on the same page.
So what's that conversation been like? And I'm kind of curious again. You had a very short run in it, but to speak to him, like when you're going to jump in the car now, right? It's his car. He's the crew chief on it. He's running it. What kind of feedback are you getting, and knowing that you've got limited experience overall in fuel racing, right? Is he directing you, or is he just kind of letting you feel things out, and you guys are adjusting as you go? And, okay, I didn't like that. I want you to do this, or how does that conversation work, and like the prep beforehand with him?
Honestly, we didn't go over a ton of stuff. I mean, he had kind of heard through the grapevine and through his son Chad, and the little bit of top fuel stuff I did do with Peyton's. They tell me I did it well. So I mean, he kind of knew going in that I could drive, and he gave me some pointers and stuff, but he kind of just let me go. Yeah. And he said, as much as it sucks smoking the tire and shaking the tire out there, it's good experience. You get to feel when it doesn't go right. You get to feel what and figure out what you got to do. And he was very happy that all the times that happened, I never let the motor get over 9,000. I mean, I caught it every time, and when that thing shakes the tire, I'm telling you, you'll take your foot out of it very quickly. It is painful, especially when the first few runs I wasn't in the car correctly. The belts were really pulling me down instead of back, and the head pattern was too close, and it would shake, and just felt like your head was in a paint shaker, like Alan Reinhardt says. I always thought they were kind of making that up, but it's true. But yeah, no, Jim's been just kind of letting me do my thing, and he's he's telling me stuff when I get back and talking about it with me, but he just pulls up the graph and he's like, yeah, well, I told you to lift there and you lifted there, and I think the runs I lifted within like less than 200ths of a second at the same spot in the racetrack, so he was pretty happy about that. And yeah, I mean, he's been pretty easy to get along with so far. So I'm sure there'll be times that I do something that he doesn't like, and I think it's one of those deals he's going to tell me, and if I don't do it again, it's probably going to come up again. But if I do it again, he's probably going to give me shit, and I mean, rightfully so.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
I think he's a pretty realistic dude. He just, he's just going to let me run with it and see what happens.
So with the way the car, I mean, and you've pointed out so well, like this is a completely different animal than what you expected, right? And I think we were joking about it a couple of episodes ago, where like you said, you've driven the fast pro mod that's erratic, you've driven the 300-mile-an-hour car combo of these two, and evidently not. What's been the wildest change for you from having to go from 300-mile-an-hour dragster and the 220-mile-an-hour pro mod, right, that you didn't expect at all? I know it was already off the beaten path, but like, what would be something that's out there? Because I'm intrigued by this. It's been such a wild experience following you along with this, right? And I think I have 1,000 questions on the operational side that'll probably bog the show down. But like, what's just out to lunch that we're like, did not expect that whatsoever?
Probably how violent they are. Like they're just, I mean, you're sitting right on top of the rear end housing. The tires are right here beside your ass on either side, and you feel everything. Like even the two runs that it made it felt like it shouldn't have. Like it felt like it was shaking so hard. And that Goodyear is so wadded up, and then it snaps up on it, and you feel everything. I was surprised how good the visibility was, to be honest. I didn't think it was going to be as easy to see out of as it is. So that was a plus. But it, when it gets out there and locks up the clutch, it goes blurry, just like a top fuel dragster. But instead of you being able to see the front wheels and everything, that's gone. Right. So, the awareness of where you are on the track, I would say, is a little more difficult in this car, but like I said, I expected it to be kind of a half-ass hybrid between the dragster and the pro mod, and it's really not. It's just it's its own thing, and yeah, I don't really know how to explain it, man. Like there's nothing else you can say other than it's wild. Like it's got so much power and it's so violent when it shakes. And
the visibility wise, is that like, so from the pro mod, right? And like those cars aren't known to be the best cars to see out of, right? Just because of what a pro mod is.
It's harder. Go ahead. Sorry.
That's great. Like, to be able to navigate your way down the track in the pro mod, which again is a wild experience. Like, does the fact that you can see more out of the Fuel Funny car change anything in a general feeling? Because I can only picture, as you were alluding to, like the body comes down and all of a sudden this mess around you that you're so obvious to is now gone. But now vision is not nearly as bad. I mean, I'm guessing to the pro mod, it's better than the pro mod in some capacity, right? Does that help with that anxiety while still not being able to, or how does that change things? I just can't fathom not being able to see from like here forward, right, with the cage that comes down, all around you.
Yeah, it's I'd say the pro mod's harder to see out of. I mean, the supercharger's at the height of the roof, right? So in a blown car, anyways. So we kind of drive, especially in the left lane, and you can't see the center line. You kind of drive on gauging how far you are from the wall, a little bit. I mean, especially more so at night. You can see the groove pretty good during the day in the pro mod, but at night it's a little trickier, and you kind of just look over at the wall and hope you're in the right spot. This thing, you're sitting in the center, so that's a nice part where you know if you're in the center of the racetrack or not, but the thing's moving so fast and it darts so quickly that it doesn't, you don't have to be not in the center for very long to know you're not in the center. And it's I made a pretty good correction on the first run, and Jim told me, he's like, if the racetrack's 110 degrees and you do that, it ain't gonna stay there. It's gonna kick you sideways and like, so the track was pretty good and it held it. But he showed me on the temperature sensors on the tires, the lateral G, like it raises the tire pressure up on one side like crazy and drops the other because you're rotating the car and putting more weight on one side than the other. It's pretty wild how much it changes. So there's a fine line between overdriving them and driving them enough to keep them in the middle. So, and that's a big part on staying ahead of it, right?
Yep. With the data side too. I mean, I'm always a big fan of data, right? Just amongst anything I've ever done, right? I always feel like you never have enough, and then you have too much, and you go into data, reclusiveness. But with what you're getting, like, is that I'm not sure how Jim works out in the world as far as how much data he gets. Back to how the car is controlled and being so sophisticated, you assume he's got, looking at everything across the board. How much feedback do you get on your driving from the little bit you've had so far, from the data centers, back to like you're looking at left wheel to right wheel, right? How you're moving the car around. I mean, that's something I'm assuming that in the pro mod, and maybe I'm not sure about Peyton's experience, what you had with them. How much of that data would you have had from those, or is this the first time looking at this? How does that affect what you've learned from?
That's the first time I've seen the side-to-side tire temperature things. I mean, Peyton's car has all the sensors on it that you can think of. I mean, Todd's the sensor guy.
Yep.
Yeah. So he's, that car had all that stuff. So I got to see all that, and I got to learn a little bit from the few races I did with Peyton's, looking at the graphs and stuff. They were very open with me and showed me all that stuff. So that was kind of nice, having that experience going into Jim's trailer and knowing a little bit of what the stuff's supposed to look like. Now, it's nothing like our stuff. Like, it's completely backwards thinking of what we do. We want to go faster. We lean it out, pull timing out, and pull fuel out. And that thing, when you want to go faster, you put timing in and put fuel in. So it's kind of the opposite deal. And obviously, these things are very clutch oriented. So a lot of the data has to do with the clutch, and I'm not up to snuff on that. And I hope to be over the course of the season, but it's pretty crazy how much they look at the clutch and look at the clutch wear, and it's pretty cool. But it's got all the stuff on it. I mean, Dave Leahy's over there. He's a computer guy too, right? So he's got sensors on there that you wouldn't even you'd be like, why the hell would you want to monitor that? But he does.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
It's always interesting learning so much about this stuff, right? You never would have thought of the difference in the tire pressures as you're moving up and down. Through this experience, obviously, trust in each other is going to play a big role, right? You know that, right? You're driving somebody else's race car. They have to have faith in you that you're going to get it down there. Set the rules, right? You don't hit the wall, don't cross the center line, all this. How much impact is that trust going to have on goals that you guys have for the season? Is there anything that you're set up? I know you're, being a first year, right, in a rookie season in this situation, maybe not going to go out and set the world on fire, but are there certain goals that you guys have set or different milestones you want to get to, to crank this thing up and really let it fly?
We haven't really wrote down any goals per se. I mean, the plan is to go to every race. It's pretty well known. Jim's got a good race car, and they finished 6 points last year with Blake driving the car. I'd like to think I'm going to pick up on it quick and do well in the seat. So I hope that that combination is going to get us some win lights. I'm not going to sit here, never have staged the car beside somebody and say I'm expecting to go out and win a race or win a championship, but I wouldn't be surprised if we go out and win a race this year. I mean, it's a fast car. They've got good people. He's got really good equipment, and hopefully I get lucky enough to cut some lights and get around some guys. But that class is pretty killer. I mean, you look at Austin Prock just dominated this season with everybody. So, and Beckman / Force wasn't far behind. And then you've got Caps and Hagen and Tasca and J.R. Todd, and all these guys are all really good.
It's kind of one of those classes now that there's 7 or 8 potential world champions just sitting in lanes at any one time, right? Yeah.
And they've all been doing it a lot longer than me. So, like I said, I'm not going to set any expectations, but I wouldn't be shocked if we win a race this year. I mean, we've got all the stuff to do it, the tools to do it. We just got to put it together. So
yeah, I love it. Right. It's an exciting time. It's cool to jump in this and be competitive, right? You're not, for sure, there's no reason to ever think that you're going to go out and then, round one is all you've got in it, right? With previous experience and then different previous results, there is potential. We have seen, I'm not going to brag you up, too heavy on this, but we've seen what you can do on the starting line in a heads-up race format, and on top of that, obviously the funny car, like I said, a little bit different, takes some time, but, you're a race car driver, you figure that out, you do the little mechanics that's going to help it out. When John Forrest couldn't hit it, right, then he's rolling it in, a foot and a half and then put, flickering the deep stage bulb. So, it'll be interesting to see how long that takes to get comfortable. That was kind of a question we had in the comments. Dave fired it up there. Since you said funny car is not comparable to Pro Mod or Top Fuel, how long do you think it'll take you to, as they say, learn to drive by your ass? Kind of a lot of that feeling in how, with experience, right? How long do you think that'll take to get that experience to really be comfortable?
That's a good question. I don't know for sure how long it's going to take. I mean, I think driving from your ass is something you either have or you don't. It doesn't matter what you're in. But to learn what it's supposed to feel like and what it's not supposed to feel like, or that's just going to take laps. But because I'll be honest, like I said, the 2 runs it made, it didn't feel like it should have made it. So I guess once I get used to that and know that's what it's going to feel like, and I'm sure that it feels different on a hot track than it does on a cold track, and there's going to be variables. Every track is different. I'm used to driving a suspended car where we don't feel a lot of that stuff. It gets sucked up in the suspension, and I've been running a Bradenton here a long time, and I was down here for the pro race a couple weeks ago, and these guys are talking about bumps and stuff in the track that I just don't feel in the pro mod. I know they're there because I've walked the track, but we don't feel them. And I was talking to Austin Prock, and he's like, man, I had all four wheels off the ground at 500 feet in the right lane. And I'm like, what? And he's like, yeah, man, the whole car was airborne. And he's like, but the track's so glued up, it just planted itself back down and ran on down through there. And
Wow.
that's wild to think. It's going to take definitely some runs, and I don't think you ever fully learn it. I mean, you're always learning, right? I'm still learning in the pro mod every run I make. So I don't know if there's a definite set time or point in time that you feel like you've got it figured out. But I mean, just from the two full runs I did make, I mean, they felt pretty good. I mean, I think it's just going to take some laps.
Absolutely. And hopefully you get a bunch of them in 2 weeks. So it'll be exciting. What's that going to be? What's that transition going to be like now, going from, pro mod, funny car, and then pro mod, funny car, right? Pretty well 3 weeks in a row, you're swapping back to a different animal. What's that going to be like getting back in the pro mod this weekend? And then how do you feel, are you going to have to, go through all the ring rust or whatever, to get back in the funny car following that at the Gators?
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be too big of an issue. I mean, my pro mod's my baby. I mean, I've made a lot of runs in this thing, and the car I had before this car was set up exactly the same. So I've made a lot of runs in this car, and I'm very comfortable in it, and everything's just kind of second nature, and so I'm not worried about that at all. But I am worried about kind of switching modes. I'm going back from testing mode to race mode, and this is the biggest race of the year for Pro Modified. I won this race 2 years ago. We had a car that I thought we could have won last year, and just Ogilvie beat us second round. Bad chip draw. Not making excuses. We were like the fourth or fifth quickest car of the round in second round at 16 cars, and just we got outrun by 300s. I mean, there was nothing we could have really done about that. So, and it wasn't because we made a bad lap. It was because the conditions were good for a nitrous car, and Halsey's a badass. So
that's it. Simple, easy.
Yeah, simple, easy. So this race is going to be pretty sentimental to me. I mean, it's going to be the last time I run my car for probably till December, till snowbirds. So I got a little bit of extra pressure and extra want for this one. I really would like to go out on top and be able to, put this thing in the winner's circle for my guys. I mean, I'm not worried about the different driving styles. It just going from, like I said, testing mode to race mode, and it would be a pretty big deal if we could go out there and have a good World Series of Pro Mods.
This is going to be a big race with 83 Pro Mods, I think, set to go after. So good transition here, because I don't want to be remiss if we didn't talk about this race, right? Because this really was a launching pad for you a couple years back to a totally different realm, right? And deservedly so, right? You've done a fantastic job prior to it, and this was a great spot. What's your take on what's going to take to get into this weekend? I mean, there is a ton of great cars. There's always a ton of great cars at these events, but you just add another 20 great cars to it from the Snowbirds. How do you get into the show here? Like, what do you expect this is going to take to get in, and then what are you doing from there? Because early Saturday morning, round one, to hopefully a late Saturday night final, right, with everything in the middle that you got transitioned to. How do you chalk this one up and break this down?
Yeah, it's going to be busy. I mean, it's 5 rounds on Saturday. We get 5 qualifiers. The weather looks really good, so I don't think we're going to lose any sessions, barring no major track oil downs or carnage or anything like that. But 5 sessions is a lot, and there's a lot of cars here that can uncork a run. Even the guys that don't get down every run. You get 5 shots at it, and there's a good chance they're going to put one good one together. So, yeah, like you said, there's 82 or 3 or 4 cars or whatever the hell there is. There's probably 50 cars here that can win. So, goal number 1 is to qualify. You can't take that for granted.
Do you mark your mark sessions as the session to try to go out and like, this is our home run session? Or because I think that was one of the things, like we've seen some great numbers at the sessions that you didn't think were going to be the one, but Pro Mod is such a beast, right? In that with the power adders, not always is the night session the one that could be the one for you. Do you have that already? Kind of look in the book, looking ahead at the weather, going like, here's our, here's our sessions that we need to make sure we're good to go in versus just sneaking up on a combo? Or
we do a little bit. Definitely look at the weather and you kind of pick which one's going to be your, if you're in the show and you want to swing for it, and if you miss, it's not the end of the world because you're already in. Friday night's going to be the session. It's going to cool down Friday night. It's probably going to be later. Track should be pretty tight. So that'll be kind of the home run session, I would think. But, our goal here, Mark's pretty competitive and I am too. And we like to go out and try and be low of the session every time is our goal. But it doesn't always happen. You don't always put yourself in that position. You get behind. At the last race, we went up there. We were like second or third last pair or something, and planning on running pretty strong. Looking at the cars running in front of us, we were pretty confident we were going to be right up there. And the thing went on the 2-step and broke the blower belt. So now you're in a situation where we lost some qualifiers at that race due to weather. We only had 2 left. So come back to the trailer. It's like, okay, let's back it down a bit. Go out there and run 63, 64, get in the show, and then we can build on that for tonight. Well, we backed it down and went out there and shook the tire because it didn't have enough ass. Like it just didn't have enough in it. And now you're down to 1 session and it's like, well, you just got to go with your gut and how you would go up there to race. And that's, you have to run them on the edge because all the cars are good and they're all within 0.05 of a second from 1 to 32. So, I mean, you can't just lay up. You have to go out there and run it. You got to race it. So we did. He just went up there and he's like, well, I think we can probably go 58, 59, but we got to try and go 60, 61 and just know it's down and hope it's enough. So we did. He went up there and it went 61 flat or something, or 61-1. And we were happy with that, but we were a run behind because all the guys that went 61 the session before were now going 59 or 58. So we lost that run, and then we get Kurt Stedding on Sunday, who just does another shitty chip draw. Is a guy that was in the finals against me two years ago, and is a really good racer. And Todd Tutterow is an excellent tuner, and Kurt can drive, and we went up there and ran 359 and got outrun by 200s. I mean,
beat almost anyone else in that round with just a different chip.
Yeah, I think we were the fastest loser of the round. There's no award for that, but we were. Actually, I think Wensley might have went 58. But anyways, it's just that's racing, and that's why we line them up on Sunday or Saturday in this case. But to answer your question, you just can't get behind. You got to kind of take every session like it's your last session and make it count. And like I said, there's guys here that might not be real consistent, but when they get it together, it's fast. And when you get 5 sessions, those guys are dangerous because it does not get.
Well, I think that's one of the things you see at these, right? Because when you get the short session races, 3, you're probably banking on a field of guys who know how to get the car down the track every run, right? This allows for the Grand Slam guy who could go up there and strike out 4 times but nail it once, and all of a sudden now, the field just moved down another 100th because a couple of them did it, right? So it really adds a wild dimension to it. What do you think? And I'll put you on the spot. Like, what do you think it's going to take to be 32 or faster here?
I didn't have the weather station up today, but I heard some numbers. It'll depend on when Friday night session is situated, because I feel like that'll be the session that it really drops, which would be awesome if it is, because that'll be the most exciting session, and it'll do what we want it to do. If it does cool down and the conditions get right, I think it's going to be a 60, high 63, low 64 to get in. If we don't get those conditions, I still think it'll be 65. It's hard to say. I mean, it's 80 freaking cars. So, I mean, you never know. And we may get to a point where we can't finish a session because there's so many cars. I don't know. It's kind of a weird
that was
deal.
One of the dynamics I was looking at. I mean, like, just bracket racing. I know what 80 cars in a fast dynamic can be done, and that's still a long session of just going straight down the track, run after run after run. You put 80 pro mods down there. I mean, I can imagine the first car down the track could be serviced and turned around by the time the 40th pair is ready to go up for their run, right? So
we did that when there was 60 cars. We were out early. You'd be back and serviced and ready to go, and they're still running.
That session's still running, right? So I guess that's maybe an interesting thing I was looking at here and thinking about, right? Like and I can't suggest I've been paying attention to how the pro qualifying runs, whether they run it pro style or top to bottom, or how they run it. But I mean, how do you go about preparing for that when, if you're not the first pair out somewhere, you're around the 30th pair, 35th pair out? I mean, you can watch for 2 hours before you even had to really warm the car up. You know, how do you guys prepare for something like that, knowing there's so much time if you are not out early, right? Is it?
It's just kind of something you got to deal with. I mean, it's been like this now for a couple of years with these big fields. Mind you, I go back to 2023. I think we ran every session of, I think there were 61 cars that year, and on every session in under 2 hours. So, which sounds long, but it's not. I mean, that's pretty good. I think we ran a couple sessions in an hour and a half, and that's pretty much perfect. That's like 3 cars, a pair every 3 minutes.
I was gonna say it's like 2 minutes thereabouts.
About as good as you can do it in Pro Mod, right? So, it's tough. It sucks sometimes, especially when the conditions are really good in the morning, because they start qualifying at like 9:30 or 10 in the morning. So, the racer in you is like, let's go. Let's get on the track there. It's still good. Let's go on cork one and be low. Well, if you're up in the points or you had a good qualifying section the round before, you're at the back. So you're 2 hours from even thinking about checking the weather. Yep. And they're prepping the track halfway through the session because the thing just gets tore up with that many cars. And, I know what Wes is trying to do here, and it's cool. I'm going to take some shit for this, but I'd like to see it go back to 50 or 60 cars. 50 probably is the right number, and hand pick them. And I'm not knocking, the other 30 guys, but it's, part of it for me, that the cool factor of that race is the invite only. It's a hand picked group. It's the best of the best. And it was cool just to be invited, and now it's kind of opened up, and it is cool. I mean, it's the fact that there's 84 pro mods, and like I said, there's a lot of them that are really, really good. So it is cool, but I'd like to see it go back the other way.
Little luster lost when it's not the invite, right? Because it feels like that all-star race, right? Whereas now this is like first round of the $1 million race. There's like 1,000 cars. It's going to be a week and a half before we see any meaningful racing. But you know what I mean? In what happens, right? It gets big. But yeah. But
hey, it's Wes's show, and he does a really good job with this deal. And Everything's so professional, and he welcomes everybody. He puts on a party on the Thursday night, and free pizza and beer, and it's just a cool deal. I mean, you're at an elevated event, and they make you feel that way, and it goes a long way with all the drivers. I mean, we appreciate it, and so I can't really knock them for anything, because it's a pretty awesome platform to race on, and winning this race 2 years ago put me kind of on the map, and definitely put me on the map, and so I'm forever thankful to Wes and his team for giving us that platform to do it on. So
For sure, and awesome.
yeah, like I said, nobody's ever doubled up for this event, so I'd like to be the first 2-time winner, and
It's a mic drop, right?
Be a perfect way to send off for the rest of the season and say, I'll see you in December,
That's
guys.
it. Yeah, it's so cool, man. I love the atmosphere. I can imagine that right now, it's only Tuesday, but I would imagine the place is pretty packed. And
I rolled in here Tuesday, like today, at 1:00, and I think I was the last promo in the park.
Wow.
like,
I was late.
and it's got to be just electric, right? I would feel that whole atmosphere is going to be electric, right, through the whole week.
Yeah, it's. I think most guys got here Sunday. I was up. Lyle and I were up at Mom and Dad's house, about an hour and a bit north of here. Lyle came down and watched Sunday, late Sunday. I think my last run or two in Gainesville, and then he came to hang out at the house with me yesterday. And we're like, we don't need to rush down there. Like, it's Monday. Well, we showed up today, and it's like, well, damn, I guess we did need to rush.
We did need to get there. Yeah, but I would imagine it's going to be huge, right? Like, this is why this weekend, pretty much, is why I have Flow Racing.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I've watched, like, the rest of the Winter Series, and we've had it on and this and that, like, in and out. But this weekend is why you have it, right? For the World Series of Pro Mod, because you want it, right? I like the invitational part was awesome. It did add that extra element to it. That you had, you were a certain caliber of pro mod. Great drivers are great drivers, but getting that set up together and having kind of the background there, and then you're established, as one of the best, right? So it definitely added to that. But this is gonna be wild with how big it is. I hope that they can get everything in. I know, whether it takes away from the other classes and whatnot, right? That kind of, unfortunately, to this point, right, it is what it is, right? We're paying $100,000 to win Pro Mod, so that's the show. That's what people are here to see, and it's gonna be really exciting. I wish the best of luck, but I can't wait to watch.
Yeah, it's Flow's been doing a really good job lately with these feeds. They've got a lot more stuff integrated into the feed with the live timing and drivers' names and and all that stuff. So it's came a long ways, and it's a pretty good show. And I mean, it's called the World Series of Pro Mods, so you're going to see a lot of pro mods, and I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be a good deal. I'm kind of glad they do it Saturday. It's all over Saturday night. I think racing Saturday night in front of the crowd is what you want. And
there's nothing cooler than going down the track, last pair down on a Saturday night, in any format in drag racing, right? So
I totally agree. So I'm hoping to be in that last pair.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we got faith in you, pal. Andrew, anything else before we finish up with
I just want to say I was going to touch on one thing, and I'll probably make more of a comment than a question, but truly awesome to see what you're going to be able to do here, moving into the Top Fuel Funny Car. The biggest thing I've seen, and again, more of a comment than a question, is just how from coast to coast, so many Canadians are proud to see you in the seat. I think it's going to be a fantastic year, regardless of the on-track results. The fact that we're seeing someone full-time, Canadian out there doing it, like Jim Head's a fan favorite too, right? Like one of those type guys. We're just awesome to see. We're cheering for you all the way. The comment section's full of folks just, excited for you, whether it's the World Series, the Pro Mod, the Nitro Funny Car. We chat about it in the shop. I don't have a ton of racing guys in the shop, which is kind of weird, to be honest with you, when, the world I come from, but they know about what's happening and it's of their own regard, right? So I think that's really cool, and we're excited to see that. And it'd be truly fun to see the Canadian flag in atop our Nitro Funny Car winner circle, right? When that happens, and I don't doubt that's bound to happen for you.
Yeah, no, that'd be pretty cool. And Jim Head's a big fan of Canadians. He's got a lot of Canadian friends. He spends a lot of time in Turks and Caicos, which is very heavily populated by Canadians. He's got a bunch of Canadian pals, and he actually, a quick little story, on the weekend he pulled me out to the end of the trailer and he looked up and he goes, there's an American flag up there. I said, yeah. He says, order a Canadian one up the same size and put it on the other side. We ain't running one. This is both here. I said, you got it, Jim. It'll be there for games.
That's cool. Absolutely. Gotta love it, man. Dude, he just keeps getting better, man. This whole deal it's going to be awesome. We're really excited. We appreciate you taking the time on this busy Tuesday night for you as you're hanging out down there. Best of luck for this weekend specifically, right? We, like I said, obviously we focus on the funny car stuff, but would love to see you put it in the winner's circle. Love to see you beat them up out there, right? I don't know if that thing's got a 55 in it. Probably not, but, tell Mark to lean on that thing a little bit, right? Let's let her eat. Let them know. Send a message. But yeah, good luck to you. Good luck with everything else for this year. We'd love to have you on after the first funny car victory, right? Same as we had the World Series Pro Mod. You put in the winner's circle for the Nitro Funny Car. We'll come back. We'll do this all again.
Sounds good, man. Well, thanks for having me on, and TVs this weekend. It's going to be a good show.
I've already changed booking in the shop to be able to watch it, right? Not that I want to let any of my customers know that, but Thursday, Friday is a much different day than it would have been. So,
yeah. All right, bud. Well, thank you very much. We appreciate you taking the time, and we'll talk to you soon, Spence.
All right, thanks, guys. Cheers.
Have a good one, bud. Bye. Well, Andrew, I think if I wasn't necessarily in the mood for going racing, I think I am now.
Right.
A little bit ready. That's why I love doing this, right? I get not in the mood and weather sucks and this and that. And I'm like, now let's go racing, right?
Every 2 weeks, it just gets you remotivated a little bit, doesn't it? If that tonight doesn't at all, then I have nothing for you type of thing, right? It's, I mean, the amount of Canadians that have headed south, every time I see them turn on social media or text someone, they're in a motorhome or looking for a plane or in a car heading to Bradenton. I think the population of Florida has gone up like 15% with Canadians heading down there. But this is it's that time of year, right? It's starting to see some big races, and we're excited to see some of our Canadian racers and a ton of them down there too. So outside of Spencer, but excited for this.
Yeah, no, it should be awesome. I'm ready for it. Like I said, I keep thinking about what the pits are going to feel like.
Yeah,
right? And that because and it's not going to be too hot, right? That's my favorite time of racing. It's like kind of cool, brisk. It's electric. I'm getting cranked up thinking about it.
Yeah, this is one of those places where I'm sure there's be a lot of people we get to talk to when they get home about what that was like, and I'm sure when we get Spencer back on here, because I have no question that we'll be on again with a win sooner than later with any of the cars, right? But I'm sure that pit area has just got to be wild, right? 80 Pro Mods, the amount of electricity in the air. It's so special of an event. And a bunch of classes. Like, it's going to be some great racing across the board, right? And there's a lot of Canadians down there that have a good shot at taking home a W in a lot of classes. So it'll be fun. There's a lot of Canadian content in this race.
There is, right? Yeah. It's really going to kick it off for us.
Yeah. I feel like we need to figure out how to get a Super Pro car down there for the next time this comes around.
There's still time. They haven't started qualifying or time trials yet.
No. You've seen some of my social media stuff. My stuff's in about 1,000 pieces, so it won't be coming out of my camp. So
Andrew, in 2 weeks, we're back again. Another special guest.
Yes.
We're loading up with Anton Jett and Matt Richenza.
I believe that's what we're going with. Yeah. Matt.
That's Matt. That's Matt. That's it. From Jet Promotions. They have a big event, another big event, I guess, coming this year. What track is it again, Andrew?
I'm just rolling with Thompson Raceway because the new name
all that matters.
Kuhle. I always feel bad. I know I hate.
I want to say it's Cooley, but I don't think it is.
Yeah, I haven't talked to anyone from Ohio who can give me the proper pronunciation on that one, and I won't butcher that one. But the old Thompson Raceway Park, brand new timing system. Known a lot of people who've raced there, had a great time at it. Super excited to go there. Antoine's a great dude. Talked to him a lot. Met him at a few races this year. I didn't get a chance to race his event last year with some scheduling issues, but got a lot of buddies, even some of our buddies from out east there, I think Montreal made their way down to it, had a great time with it. He's going to a great track, love racing in Ohio. They know how to do it right there. And it'll be great to talk to them about their race coming up. It's a great look. If you haven't seen the flyer, it's not far. I think it's like 3.5, 4 hours from Buffalo. So, gauge your drive time off of however far
off
Buffalo
of that.
is, right? And it's in Ohio, cheaper gas. How can you go wrong with that? But super great race. Looking forward to it. Looking forward to talking to them and talking race cars. I got to give Antoine a hard time. He's switching out of my favorite tire from the Mickey Thompson to a Hoosier, and I kind of want to bug him about that a little bit. It's hurting my soul just a touch.
I got to talk to him about that Ezel dragster.
Yes.
Right, and he still got it. He must still have it.
Yep.
He's got a beautiful Ezel dragster. I'd love to see how they ride.
There you go.
You never know. Never know what happens. But
maybe that's a super pro ride. We need to find out where he's at and see if he can. Right?
That's it. Yeah. See, here we go. We got time. Now I got a busy afternoon or busy rest of my evening.
There you go.
Figuring out some different stuff. So if you see me in Florida, then mind your business. So that's about it. That's episode 78. Great show. Great episode with Spencer. Always cool dude to talk to and doing some cool stuff, right? He's living a dream that most of us, would love to do.
Yeah.
And good for him. Did a lot of hard work. Got, was at the spots that they needed to be. Pulled off the big win when they needed it, and how much his life has changed in the 2 years since we had this conversation with him after winning the World Series of Pro Mod. We were the first podcast he went on. I know he's a regular on the Shake and Bake show, but we were still the first. So I'll stick with that and I'll keep that there. So that's about that for this week. We'll see you guys in 2 weeks again and do it all over. Get excited for the racetrack once again.
Sounds good.
Absolutely. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in, hanging out, all your different comments that were made, and we'll talk to you all soon.
We'll see you then.
We started the business over 35 years ago. A lot has changed over the years, but one thing still remains the same.
Our passion for fixing cars. With a team of over 12 men and women, they work day in and day out to provide us the best quality service possible.
From light and heavy duty vehicle repairs and maintenance work,
diagnostics and racing transmissions,
performance parts and Jeep upgrades,
automotive detailing,
used car sales,
and towing through our sister company, AC Towing.
Our team has the knowledge and understanding to solve all your vehicle needs while putting your mind at ease.
Experience the Ogilvie difference.
it's worth the drive.